2023 was a year filled with so many things that I absolutely loved, so I wanted to do a video talking about all the things that I really enjoyed this year and all the impact that they've made on me. Some of these things are things I've talked about on the channel before, and some are things I have not, and things I genuinely wanted to but couldn't find the time, or just genuinely didn't want to risk copyright, because that's obviously a huge thing. And I'm going to be shouting out a ton of YouTubers that helped make these hyperfixations of mine even stronger, so stay tuned to get some quality YouTube recommendations in this video as well. Hopefully you enjoy this, and if you guys want to see me talk about any of these topics further in specific, let me know down below. I can't thank you all enough for the growth this channel has had over this year, and I can't wait to see what's to come in the following years. So, with that, let's get right into it. First and foremost, obviously, we got the anime, which was absolutely phenomenal this year, with a lot of the Gear 5 episodes being absolutely incredible, a lot of the finale of Wano being absolutely amazing, and most importantly, we're getting onto a lot of greener pastures in Egghead, with the art style changing once again to look even more cartoonish, which I cannot be excited for enough, because the Egghead arc in the manga has been absolutely spectacular throughout the entirety of this year, where there have been multiple sections of chapters that have been almost 10 out of 10s on a weekly basis, which is just crazy. So I cannot wait enough for what's to come next year. The live action version of One Piece, which has gotten countless people into the series for the first time and has allowed the series to become more of a household name than ever, which was also just good as a whole. I thoroughly enjoyed watching it when I was able to give it a watch, and I've watched it multiple times, so you can tell I enjoyed it. There was One Piece Odyssey, which is a One Piece RPG game that released at the early start of 2023 that I actually really enjoyed. Sure, it was pretty easy, like, I'm gonna be honest, but outside of that, it was really fun to actually be able to play in these massive sections of the One Piece world in these very immersive environments. I could just keep listing things on and on and on just to show how many things happened for One Piece this year. And this isn't even like in the same time, this is me like editor speak. I literally even forgot to mention the fact there was a One Piece anime remake announced, and that's not even talking about the actual moments in the story. That's just, oh, that was great. Oh, that was great. Oh, that was great. Stuff as simple as this. It just goes to show that One Piece is on top. It's that simple. Realistically, being able to see all these amazing moments and be in the community at the time that these moments are happening was really special. And I would genuinely say this is by far the best year for One Piece in my opinion. And obviously when it comes to One Piece and the One Piece community, one of the highlights of the year by far was actually being asked to be on the Reverie. So of course, shouts to my guy King Recon, you know how it is. And shoutouts to the many people I was able to meet and talk to for the first time on the Reverie. Being a member of the One Piece community and being able to be on the Reverie was kind of like a benchmark moment. Like, oh, that would be crazy if that happened. And it managed to happen this year. So cannot thank you guys enough for the support and allowing me to be able to do that. So that was really cool. For One Piece YouTubers, I want to shout out, here's just a text wall that's going to be on screen right now in front of me. But if there's one One Piece YouTuber I want to shout out more than anyone, it's going to be Melon T. Melon T has put out some of the best One Piece YouTube videos I've seen this year by far. I pretty much love all of their videos. That's it for One Piece for me. So let's get on to... So Don was pretty good this year. Okay, but in all actuality, it was really cool seeing the series that I like, that's not very well known, slowly become something that's more and more well known, to the extent that, like, dude, I'm wearing merch of this thing that I never expected to see merch of in existence. So that in itself is already pretty cool. But seeing that the anime got announced literally not that long ago, and that in the next coming years, this could be something that's pretty huge. It's going to get that big boost of clout from the anime, and it's going to get really popular, as well as being just genuinely really good. I'm super excited. I'm not going to talk about the actual plot that happened, because I'm just going to be basically spilling out garbage, but it was really good. We met a lot of really great characters, a lot of really great art, and shouts to my girl Rin. she was really great. Hopefully she comes back. At first I was going to do some changing outfits bit whenever I decided to put on the Don hat. I'm not doing that anymore. That's too much. We're not doing too much here. Ever since I was a kid, I was a huge Marvel fiend, especially because of my love of Marvel vs. Capcom. Spider-Verse 1 I thought was an absolute masterpiece when it came out, and Spider-Verse 2, what do you know it, I thought was even better somehow, in pretty much every way. Graphics, story, characters, and let me reiterate again, the graphics. Oh my god. It looks absolutely amazing, and I can't even imagine the amount of man hours that went into crafting such a immense work of so many different art styles and so many different types of animation. It really, really was incredible to just look at, but the story was, as I said, really, really good. And I know a lot of people are not particularly fond of this as being considered like a masterpiece or 10 out of 10 movie because it's a part 1. But to that, I just say, who cares, man? This was absolutely incredible to see in theaters, and I am so happy that this movie was actually popular, where I had the opportunity to talk to people about this movie that was good and really, really compelling and well written, you know? The plot of this movie is just so great, and I love how the way the themes really tied into not just Miles, but many, many of the main characters of the story. It was just so great. And I'm excited for the next one, you know? This is like a normal thing to talk about. Wow, Spider-Man, not like some series that no one's heard of in their entire life. So, yeah, it was nice to actually just like a movie. Wow, shocking. But yeah, I tried to make a video on this, but copyright, you know, Sony destroyed me. You know how it is. So ever since I was a kid, I've been a Sonic fan. I've played a ton of the games since I was a kid. I saw this one video on YouTube that I thought was really, really great, and I'll link that right at the end, obviously. And I got really invested, and I decided to start reading the IDW Sonic comics because they were a new run without hundreds and hundreds of chapters of history and baggage and all this stuff that was kind of bleh in comparison. So I decided to give the IDW Sonic comics a shot, and genuinely, they're pretty good. Now, I know I'm a fan of the franchise, like I just established, but I feel as though the writing genuinely has been leveling up as the series has continued, with characters like Surge, and I'm not sure if they're canon to be completely honest, but stories like Scrapnik Island, which focuses a lot on growth, moving forward, and a bunch of really powerful themes in my opinion that I would not expect Sonic the Hedgehog to cover in a comic book. Like, just to keep it 100, especially with Surge. Oh my god. Like, I can't believe that a kid's book is getting away with some of this stuff. Regardless, I definitely recommend you check them out. And 2 YouTubers I absolutely want to give credit to helping the fire of this passion. The Game Apologist, who does IDW Sonic content and game content and a bunch of stuff. He's so passionate about the series. And Lowert, who is someone who is reading the Archie Sonic comics for the first time, and seeing his passion is super cool because you can tell he kind of hates it, but he also loves it at the same time, and now he's at the point where he just loves it. It's really great. I would absolutely recommend you give those 2 a watch. Also, just read them if this sounds interesting at all, or you're a fan. It's actually good. Like, I would not have done it without these guys pushing me in the right direction, so maybe I could do the same. Being able to not only be a part of the community, but experience a JoJo part from the beginning for the first time is kind of surreal in a way, as someone who's only started reading JoJolion around halfway through and then having to read monthly. Being able to experience something like this, which will be a super ongoing thing, from the beginning, you know, I feel lucky to be able to be a part of something from the beginning that's going to be lasting for a long, long time. So being able to have these sort of time capsule moments of me reacting to the chapters or talking about the chapters with you guys is super cool. I can't forget to bring up Crazy Diamond's Demonic Heartbreak, which finished earlier this year, which was a spin-off of JoJo that was about Josuke from Part 4 and Whole Horse from Part 3 working together. I personally really enjoyed it. I didn't expect that much from it, to be fair. I'm a huge Part 4 fan, as you guys might know, so this had me pretty excited, and I think it actually built to be something that's not only really good, but even adds to the Part 4 and Part 3 stories in a great way, especially with Whole Horse, who I thought had a lot of really great development. And for my shout out, I wanted to give a huge shout out to the JoJo channel I watched by far the most out of any, which was my friends at the Volume 1 podcast. Hearing them talk about JoJo as they went through the series was really cool. So I'm glad I was able to see that experience as well. But yeah, excited to see what's going on with JoJo next year as well. I've been a fan of the Godzilla franchise for such a long time that I honestly don't even know what made me a fan of the franchise in the first place. Was it watching a movie when I was a kid? Was it playing the video games when I was a kid? I honestly have no idea, but that's completely irrelevant when it comes to me actually discussing what I want to in this point, and that is, boom, this right here, Godzilla Minus One. Now this movie I thought was an absolute masterpiece when I first saw it, and I still think it is. I cannot believe how amazing this film actually was, and I had very high expectations when I heard people comparing it to Shin Godzilla, which is another movie a lot of people really liked. So I was personally very hopeful, but I didn't want to get my hopes up too high, you know what I mean? I, however, am so glad that I had my expectations high, because not only were they high, they were surpassed in many ways. The human plot was absolutely incredible, with many of the human characters not only being some of the best in the entire franchise, but I think the main character might be the best character in the entire franchise. The story was so compelling, and the way they turned Godzilla's role as a weapon of destruction from something that causes devastation to something that encourages others to rise up and become better, I thought was really powerful. And the major themes going throughout Shikishima's journey in the film I thought were really powerful, and they really spoke to me a lot. So I absolutely love this film. Probably my movie of the year. I know I talked about Spider-Verse earlier in this video, but this movie was amazing, and no one is talking about this in comparison to people talking about Spider-Verse like everywhere. And I really wanted to make a video on this, but I didn't want it to be disingenuous, you know what I mean? And I still hope to make a video, but Toho is very strict on copyright, and you guys might have known that with the amount I've talked about Godzilla in terms of One Piece stuff. If you want to see a video that's really good that talks about Godzilla Minus One, I'm going to recommend Blue Nova. Now this is one of my favorite channels when it comes to talking about Godzilla, kaiju, and all that type of stuff. It's really cool, super compelling stuff if you're a fan of it, and if not, check it out, maybe you'll become a fan. Now, for longtime viewers of the channel, you guys might know that I am absolutely obsessed and brain rotted when it comes to the show The Owl House. I used to do videos on it like pretty much every time an episode came out when I was in college, and I wanted to talk about it a lot, as well as the finale of the show, because guess what? You wouldn't believe it, but the show was amazing and absolutely incredible, as it always was in season 2. I genuinely think that the finale of the show, Watching and Dreaming, was absolutely spectacular, and for the future, while not being my favorite episode of the show, you know, it was still amazing, don't get me wrong, had personally my favorite moment of the entire show. So it just goes to show that this year had a lot of phenomenal stuff for that show, and ended it off spectacularly, in my opinion. Hopefully, this is the most fingers crossed thing ever. We get something more out of this, whether it be an art book or more details about the show being revealed as it goes on, because I would love to support the show even more, unlike the brand that decided to cancel it and change it entirely for season 3. And it's my highest of recommendations if you guys want a new series to watch. Check out The Owl House. It's not that long, and it's super good, super creative. The action's great, great characters, great world building. You have nothing to lose. Oh, that pun wasn't intended. I just realized you have nothing to lose. Oh my god. And for YouTubers I want to shout out the channel Idle Scree. Now personally, this is a super small channel, just like myself, but I think that this channel has some of the best Owl House content on the entire website. I especially love their video about the naming schemes of the Owl House. Super great stuff. They don't just talk about the Owl House, by the way, but hey, wanted to shout them out because really great stuff. And I decided to save, personally, the best for last, Fiona and Cake, because this show was absolutely incredible. As someone who's obviously been a lifelong fan of Adventure Time, seeing the amount of love poured into the show, not just for the actual new story it was able to tell, but the love for the original series and the many characters, and the just world building of the original series, my expectations were not the highest when it came to this show. I assumed it would be good, don't get me wrong, but did I expect to be like completely brain rotted by this show? Every single time an episode would come out, I would just be hooked? No, I didn't. But literally from episode 1, I was immediately drawn back into the creativity, and I obviously wanted to talk about this last because this has by far been the series that has allowed my channel to grow the most, and most of the people who are subscribed to my channel have subscribed because of me rambling and fanning out about this show. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for allowing me to ramble, not just about this, but about many things, and somehow finding some entertainment from it. It really does mean a lot, and I can't wait for next year to do even more. And obviously, with Fiona Cake Season 2 on the way, I can't wait to see what's next for our many, many colorful characters in the world of Who. And there are 2 YouTubers I want to shout out when it comes to Adventure Time content in particular, because these 2 definitely helped heighten the stranglehold that this series had on me. And that's going to be Ample Samuel, who's a channel I've actually watched for quite a bit, but obviously have fallen deeper into the rabbit hole when it comes to Fiona and Cake, and the channel True Local Weirdo. I personally really loved his videos, how they would drop almost like on a daily basis, and just seeing the amount of passion both these guys have for the franchise was really, really cool. So definitely shouts to both of them. We're probably getting to the 10K tattoo goal, so I'm just gonna let you guys know it's gonna be a banger. Thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoy, and I'll see you next year.